Tua. Yes. Munshi Abdullah. Yes. Y'all don't know who he is. Mokhtar Dari, come on. Okay. Chao Chi Kyong. Yes. Some people remember. Nicole David. Okay, that's my top 10. So to be in the company of Mr. Lim Kit Siang is easy. He's very chinchai. Everybody has told us that. He's just part of the family and there's no airs about him. And we are blessed by your presence here. And I just wanted to say that this program, what will happen is Mr. Lim will speak first and then we have a question time. The mic there is for you to come up and put your questions through and then they will answer. Now I just want to introduce the people sitting here. Francis Louis is the gentleman who was responsible to make sure all your postal votes got back to Malaysia. He's very rajin, you know. He paid for it himself as well. To have somebody like him, a younger person, do this is something out of the books for this election. How people came together and did this. They sacrificed from the blood, sweat and tears of their own lives. Dave Anand, he's in the Dizzy Heights. He's a barrister in New Zealand. I think probably one of the, I don't know whether there's any other Malaysian barristers, but he's a tax barrister, so if you have tax problems, this is Dave went to high school in Canterbury. I just want to tell you a little bit about him because it's important for you to know how this man has sacrificed a lot. He finished law, he read law in Canterbury and then went, he was working in the top 5 here in Auckland. Then soon in the early 90s, 91, I think he went back to Malaysia. He became a magistrate. When Anwar was arrested, he was the most senior magistrate in Kuala Lumpur. And he was given the case to put them all behind bars. He released 180 out of the 187 brought before him. And his bosses were very angry. This is a gentleman who has upheld the law without prejudice. I would like you to give him a hand. His bosses called him in the next day and said, "Why did you let these people go?" He said, "They're not guilty. There's nothing that stops them from being free." And then they asked, "Why did you get the other 8 convicted?" He said, "Easy, the other 8 pleaded guilty." Okay, now time to hear. You don't want to hear from me too much. My name is Mike Lobo and I've just, we don't belong to any organization, we're just Malaysians. A few of us got together and did this because we heard from Sydney and we put this together, so there's no, we have no ties with any organization. I have something to say to our chief guest. Sir, there are no words to describe what you have sacrificed for each one of us who want a prudent, democratic and fair Malaysia. For myself, I left the country. I did not stay and fight the injustices, but chose to run and have a better life in a foreign land. But you, sir, went through incarcerations, insults, heartaches, unfair and unjust charges on your family, and watching your children go to jail. All that seems a bittersweet time now, isn't it, with victory in your hands. I wish to echo the sentiments here of all of us here by honoring you with the following words. Theodore Roosevelt, he said, firmly believe that one learns by doing. It is better to stumble than to do nothing or sit by and criticize those who are in the arena. He explained the poorest way to face life is with a sneer. It is a sign of weakness to judge a man merely by success. He said it's an abhorrent wrong. So I want to call you the man in the arena, sir, today, because it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, which is you, sir, whose face is marred by the dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcomings, right?
Yes.
But who does actually strive to do the deed, sir? You did. Who knows the great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause of more than 50 years, who at the best in the end triumphs of high achievement, and who at the worst if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be those cold and timid souls who knows neither victory nor defeat. You are such a man, sir. You are such a man. So I'm going to stop speaking, and I'm going to invite the one and only, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Little.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Francis, Dave, and others who have made this possible. Pam, Lydia, and Siang. I'm really overwhelmed by your presence, and I feel also great to be among Malaysians. But before I proceed, let me introduce my friend who has come with me, Ling Si Ming. He is from Christchurch. He's in Christchurch for 25 years. He is the first DAP Member of Parliament in Cebu in 1982, many years ago. Secondly, let me finish my chore. I convey to you, on behalf of the Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir, his regards to all of you. I saw him before I came and visited Australia. I was in Perth, Canberra, Sydney, Melbourne, and then Christchurch, Dunedin, Wellington, and now Auckland before I go back tomorrow. And wherever I go, it's very heartwarming and very great support shown by Malaysians, because we have achieved a great event on May the 9th, 2018. In fact, we made history. We made history, and something that the majority of us never expected to see in their lifetime. Correct or not?
Yes.
We never expected to see change in Malaysia in our lifetime. Very few probably thought otherwise and believed that we could change. Who thought that we could change on May the 9th?
Yeah.
Oh, very few. Very, very more advanced than all of us. I dare not. Of course, I want to change. I want to change for half a century. And in the 14th general election, 11 days from nomination to polling, I did not spend much time in my own constituency, which has been changed from Galapata. The name has been changed to Iskandar Putri. I was there during the beginning and at the end of the campaign. But during the campaign, I was out in the country. I went to 10 states and 35 constituencies because we wanted to see we came to a stage where it's not so as important as campaigning in the country to bring about change. Although if you ask me on the 9th of May, before the counting, whether we will succeed, I wouldn't dare to answer in the affirmative. Of course I wanted. We all wanted. But dare we say we will have change? The diaspora went back in 2013, flew back all over the world. New Zealand, Australia, Canada, UK, came and returned with an ink finger to show that, oh, you voted. But there was no change. Although the ruling coalition had lost the support of the majority of the voters, 47%. But because of gerrymandering and a host of other undemocratic practices, they were able to hold on to 60% of the parliamentary seat and they continued to rule. They continued to do their worst. So same thing, 14th election. 14th election aspect, I was a bit worried. I was worried because I was afraid that, not only in the country, diaspora, Malaysians will lose hope. 2008, 2013 came out in large numbers to change, but because the system was so lopsided, the system was so unfair and so undemocratic, it's just not possible that the people lose hope, disappointed, no point, what for? Cannot change. The whole odds are stacked against what the people want. So we were worried, I was worried, that the 14th January election we may suffer a fallback. And we thought that we had two criteria, two conditions we must fulfill if we want to have change. One is to be able to sustain, to maintain, to re-energize, to reignite hope among Malaysians, whether in the country or in the whole world, that change is still possible. Don't give up hope. So long as there is life, there must be hope. And then of course, we are shown this, but that itself is not enough. In the urban voters, whether in Malaysia or outside, came back, mostly not many voters, but also many voters in urban areas. The system is so gerrymandered that you don't have the majority seats. You must reach out to win rural voters. To reach out to reach the voters in the fertile areas, and that will be the Malay voters. So unless we can accomplish both these objectives, it is difficult. It is inconceivable to change. Although the political landscape has undergone considerable transformation. From 10 years ago, before 2008, who would have thought that change was possible? If they asked, can change or not? To before 2008, unthinkable, impossible, undreamable, because cannot be done. But 2008, we saw 5 seats. Barisan Nasional lost. Penang, Selangor, Kedah, Perak, and of course London. 5 seats, and things became possible. Even Johor, the last state, which is so invincible and unconquerable, the last fortress of UMNO, Barisan Nasional, MCA, everybody, FIC, seemed so unshakable. In fact, in 2008 general elections, the Barisan Nasional campaign on the theme, zero opposition in the state. They were so confident, zero opposition in the state. Also they began to change. That's why I went down into 2013 and took the decision. I was then, before that, representing Ipoh. Before that, representing Penang. Before that, representing Penaka. I mean, a rolling stone that gathers no moss. In 2013, I took a decision to go down to Johor, to Calcutta. A lot of people said, oh, madness. Can lose or no? Of course can lose. But no venture, no gain, correct? no venture, no gain. Well, all right, prepare to lose. It's only game. Prepare to lose, and what you gain is even more worthwhile. And you're lucky I won. I won because 16,012 rupees. In this election, I didn't have time. I don't know what's happening, whether I will win or I will lose. But I wanted the whole country to be able to try to succeed. Anyway, I was told I won with 45,000. 45,000, a bigger majority. So the thing changed. There's hope for change. And then we achieved that. And it was remarkable. I spoke, as I said, I spoke to Mahathir, and he said, he was surprised. He was surprised. Peaceful democratic change. Every time in Malaysia there are elections, on election day, before election day, we will all the housewives will make a rush to the supermarkets to clean up all the stores, all the essentials. You don't do it in New Zealand. New Zealand election, you go to Sapu or the mini markets. So in Malaysia, will there be violence? Will there be racial riots? Will there be May 13th? Every election they found this fear among the people. And even Mahathir was a bit worried. No, a bit worried, very worried. So he was also surprised by that there was a peaceful democratic change. For the first time, Malaysians inside the country and in the whole wide world stood up and proud to be Malaysians. Correct?
Yes.
For the first time for many years. For many years, we cannot admit that we are Malaysians. We go overseas, we say, what NDP? Your Prime Minister, a grand corruption, global kleptocrat. A government of thieves or robbers. So you go overseas, see where do you come from? Singapore lah, Indonesia lah, Borneo lah, Brunei, everywhere. We admit, we are ashamed because of such injustices and abuses in the country. But May the 9th, we're different. We felt proud, and we are proud. We are proud because of what had achieved change peacefully, democratically. And proud because for the first time we stood away and told the whole world. The whole world was shocked. The whole world was shocked because in the last 10 years, democracy as a system of governance in the whole wide world faced a crisis. Cannot help. Is democracy a proper system of governance? So maybe you need to have a high-handed, more dictatorial, more autocratic systems of governance. And for the first time, we told the world to have hope in democracy in governance. And that's what we want. Malaysia to be a world top-class nation. Can we be a top-class nation?
Yes.
We can. Why not? But are we? No. We were not. For 60 years, we lost our way. Tunku Abdul Rahman, Bapa Malaysia, when the nation was formed, talk about the vision of Malaysia as a beacon of light in a difficult and distracted world. A beacon of light. Were we a beacon of light? We were that hole of kleptocracy, of corruption, of abuses of power, of rogue democracy. We were never a beacon of light. But now we can be a beacon of light. We want to build a new Malaysia. That is the challenge. Can we? Can we build a new Malaysia? Yes. Can you in the diaspora cooperate to help to contribute and participate in the building of a new Malaysia? And that's, I think, it's my purpose of my visit to Australia and to New Zealand, because I feel diaspora, Malaysians all over the world can play a role. Can play a role without whether you go back, best can go back, but not easy lah. There are so many ties and roots. But even if you don't go back, you can still contribute. I see here before me people of experience, of skills, of competence, of dedication to make to make life succeed in a foreign land. These are the qualities we want. All of you should be back home to build a new Malaysia.
Retirement.
Singapore. You know a lot of Malaysians in Singapore. If tonight all Malaysians go back to Malaysia, Singapore collapse. All the hospitals we have to close down. No specialists. All from Malaysia. All the lawyers have to go back. But then, why something went wrong? As I discussed with Martin a few days ago, he was in China, so a lot of Malaysians came. We met the Malaysians. Some in China for 10, 15, 20 years. I was in China. I went to China after he went. I go to China before him. There were other people, various people making a lot of noises. I went to Shanghai. I went to Beijing. Shanghai, we had the Shanghai Crusade, where they have organized an annual Merdeka celebration forum. A lot of Malaysians came. In fact, never before was there such a large number of Malaysians for the Shanghai Merdeka program, Zhejiang and other provinces. Before the program, everybody stood up and sang the Negara Ku. It was touching. People left the country 10, 20, 30 years ago and still fought for the country. That's why I told Dr. Mate, these Malaysian Chinese who have stayed in China 10, 15 years, they are Malaysian Chinese. They are not Chinese Chinese. They are Malaysian Chinese, not Chinese Chinese. Correct?
Correct.
Of course. You have the Indian diaspora, the Indians. You have the Greek diaspora. You have a third diaspora. But we have the Malaysian diaspora, which is different from them. The Malaysian diaspora comprises only the Chinese, the Indians, and Malays more and more, because they find that in the whole homeland, they cannot fulfill their potential and capabilities. So what can we do? I think we have been given a second chance to reset nation building policies after 60 years. For 60 years, we got lost. 40 years, those who have gone to China 40 years ago, what I say, very backward. No toilet also. 40 years ago. Today, you go to China, everybody expect China is more advanced than Malaysia. We don't talk about our countries. More advanced than Malaysia. Why? Why you lost our way? Why you got allowed China to overtake us so rapidly, so greatly? Not only China, other countries as well. Singapore, South Korea, Formosa, which in the 60s were poor countries. Why are we still behind? Not only we have natural resources, we have human resources, we have talents, all of you, human talents help to build other countries to a great level. Why are you not in Malaysia to build a new and great Malaysia? That is the agony of Malaysia. That is the trial and tribulation of Malaysia. So I suggested to Martin, in the 70s, 80s, when the migration of Malaysians started, I remember speaking in Parliament, expressing my concern that the policies, the national policies are responsible for this brain drain. And of course, I still remember some UMNO leaders at the time said, what did they say? What did they say? Good riddance to bad rubbish. They regard this as bad, all of you are bad rubbish.
The other way around.
You are the best and the brightest in Malaysia. You are not good riddance, bad rubbish. And anyway, that's history. So I told Martin, these people left in 70s, 80s, they are now old, they are now retirement age. A lot of white hair, no hair, They're the retirement age, they're not actively involved in livelihood anymore because they left to their new generation. But their hearts are still in Malaysia. They want to contribute. If they can contribute, in fact, they want to go back and contribute if they can. Correct or not?
Yeah.
If we can, So I suggested the government must think of a way to tap this great resource of the country. Maybe spread it all over the world, but a great resource of the country. And I think it's something that all leaders of the Pakatan Harapan will think about. Or the criticisms and happiness are beginning to be expressed. Wow, Pakatan Harapan no different from Barisan Nasional. Oh, this A, B, C, D one, not done. But I want to say that things cannot be done. After 60 years, all the injustices and all the wrongs cannot be rectified in one day or one night. Cannot be done in 100 days or 6 months. It will take definitely more than one election cycle. So we must need to win 15 EG, 16 general elections. It may take a decade or even 2. We have to reset nation building policy. Every aspect of life must be reformed. Politics, education, economy, social, health, environment, every aspect. And it takes some time. It's not something you can overnight switch and bring about a change, because a lot of things are attached to it. Recently we read about the move to establish independent police complaints and misconduct commission, IPCMC. This was proposed in 2006, 12 years later. To change the government is something that is possible, because earlier the police were the strongest opponents. Attorney General Tommy Thomas, in his interview in the Malaysia case, talked about the need for they're going to have law reforms, structural, institutional reforms, but it will take time, because you cannot just change. There must be studies on attendant consequences. But every ministries will have to do it, and every ministry must present their proposals. And it will take a decade. I say it take maybe a decade or 2. The only bills, any act so far that we have repealed is the Anti-Fake News Act. But the Anti-Fake News Act, as you know, was blocked by the Senate, because the Senate composed of senators, majority of whom are appointed by the previous regime. You appoint senators for 3 years. Some started their term of office end of last year or beginning of this year. So it'll be 3 years. So for 3 years we have to accept that we are under control of the Senate. How do you go about it? There's a challenge to our abilities to bring about change. So these are things the Elections Commission. We have seen the announcement of a new Elections Commission at Harun. And he talk about the need for change. The old Election Commission, chairpersons, they are part and parcel of the establishment. I heard just now about Francis. Yes, Francis took the postal ballots back from back home from Auckland to Malaysia and gave to the Elections Commission. Same thing, Praveen of Melbourne also said, oh, he took a lot of postal ballots, and Praveen told me, actually very dangerous, you know. Actually very dangerous, huh? You don't know what is inside. Anything can be anything, and it can be compromised. It can be easily victimized. But we do it. We do it because we're sick. But why other countries? You don't hear about other countries, US, New Zealand, or UK, postal ballot. Their nationals all over the world voting. They have to carry back midnight to be surrendered manually to the Elections Commission. I mean, that is so inefficient, it's so incompetent, it's so un-IT. So we must change, but only Elections Commission can change. That's why I heard about the case. The postal ballot came on 11th of May. How to vote? The ballot came on that. How many of you received your ballot after the 9th? One. And a few others. So it is utterly incompetent, inefficient. But Then we read about the proposal to lower the voting age from 21 years to 18 years. When I first entered Parliament in 1971, there was one proposal. So proposal I made more than 50 years ago, finally, or some 50 years ago, finally we are now seeing it's going to be implemented. So it takes time. I mean, not so long. I'm not saying that you need 50 years by certain things we need time. So I urge that but let's have a big picture. Have a big picture and a long vision. We want to be able to bring about change. We are committed to the various programs and various objectives we have announced for a fairer, juster, more equal Malaysian society. Equality was one of the important reasons why there was a spring break. We want everybody to feel part of this country, part of Malaysia. You don't have to leave the country, but it takes time. In the last elections, about 95% of the Chinese voted for change. About 75% of the Indians voted for change. Only about 25 to 30% of the Malays voted for change. Small, very small number, but enough to start the process to bring about a peaceful and democratic transition of power. But not enough. If you want to ensure that this government can survive, that this government can sustain and can carry its program of change over the entire spectrum of national life. Because you see, past, going back on the old politics of race, of religion, of lies, of hate and fear. I'm supposed to be Prime Minister of Malaysia, no? That's why they say, oh, if Pakatan Harapan wins, DAP will be the real power, then Siang will be the Prime Minister. Am I the Prime Minister? They say DAP has got an agenda. Christianization. Islam will be put aside, Christian will become the official religion. Christianity will be the official religion. But
You should be the Prime Minister, sir.
Prime Minister, yes. Second thing is Christianity. I'm not a Christian. Why should DAP have a Christian agenda? And the third, all the sultans and all the Malay rulers will be abolished. Will be a republic. But the lies of falsehoods, the fake news. So, yes, I believe they're fighting a losing battle because in the era of information, when information travels at the speed of light, instant information, more and more people will come to able to differentiate truth and falsity, lies. But it will take time. I'm sure you experience have received WhatsApp and all that. Wow, terrible thing, true or not true, don't know. True or true, don't know. But it takes time, you have to differentiate. After this, not that this happened before elections. After elections, still going on. After election, there was WhatsApp saying that Siang arrived only in Malaysia from China when he was 17 years old, 1957. My classmate in Canberra, Dr. Michael Ong, who was my primary school mate, very upset, sent me album of photographs when we were in school in our childhood days. But it takes time. But by and large, they are facing everything. The extremists, the opportunists, the mischief makers, want to play up hate, fear, lies. They are fighting a losing battle because more and more will understand. That's why I believe the elections I held now, more Malays will support. Pakatan Harapan because I don't believe that 70% of the Malays who voted for UMNO or for PAS wanted corruption. Now you see how serious is corruption. We didn't know. We are against kleptocracy, but we didn't know it. The magnitude of the monstrosity of corruption. Now we know. Now everybody knows. Somebody died. UMNO leader died, helicopter crash, accident. Only then we realized, we found that, he left behind an estate. How much is the estate?
2 billion.
Not 2.1, not million. 2.1 billion. How did he got 2.1 billion? Billions. And he is he the only one? Are there UMNO leaders who stash their private wealth assets, billions of private wealth stashed away secret, nobody knows. And if he doesn't die accidentally, we won't know also. He would have made careful arrangements for such assets to be passed to other people. It only happens when you die immediately, accidentally, unfortunately, like this case. That's why in Wellington I say UMNO is having his General Assembly tomorrow. They want to reform. I say, how can you reform? If you want to reform, proof they are against corruption. All those who have 100 million worth of assets, declare completely. 100 million. And declare where you got it. Declare that you got it from honest means and not by ill-gotten gains. So we want to be a world top class. And we have started May the 9th. We have told the world that democracy is the hope. We want to be a world top class nation to transform a global kleptocracy into a leading nation of integrity. You are in New Zealand. Every year, Transparency International have its annual corruption perception index. Either number one, mostly number one or number two. Never more than number 4. Malaysia, 13, 14, 50, 16, 62, now 62. And that's without knowledge of the big holes, the black holes, the monstrosity. They are not aware of it. So this is I don't think, but only New Zealanders, Singaporeans, the Swiss, the Norwegians, they are inherently clean and honest. Malaysia is not honest. So we must prove that we can be as honest as other people, right?
Yes.
As clean and non-corrupt as other people. We must have high hopes. So we want to be. At one time we were almost to become a tiger, economic tiger. We lost it. We want an education system. We want our to be an example to the world. We are a nation of diverse races, cultures, religions, civilizations. I remember I was in Jordan, I was in Cairo and Tunisia, and discussed with some of the Islamic scholars about political Islam. We want to go back, because it is a reality. Malaysia, political Islam is a reality, but we want it to be, political Islam to be open, transparent, and able to live to the times. We want to go back 1,400 years ago to relive the values that make Islam great. Islam was a great reform movement because of justice, because the values of justice, compassion, mercy, solidarity. We don't have to go back 1,400 years ago to rebuild the structures, the institutions which were necessary at that time, in that context. But now, this is 2018, not 1,400. Progressive Muslim scholars don't understand this. When we want them for Malaysia to be an example to the world, that this is what we want. We are a confluence of diverse religions and civilizations, the richest religions, cultures, and civilizations in the world. Why can't we leverage on the best of all these diverse religions and civilizations and cultures to build a new civilization for a whole world to emulate? We must dare to dream big dreams. We must dare to have great vision and not to become a global kleptocracy, a kakistocracy. A kakistocracy is a government of the worst elements in the country. And we have We have aristocracy previously, where ministers cannot differentiate between turtle egg and ordinary egg. Turtle egg one, don't know lah. I also eat lah. So that's where I think the Malaysian diaspora comes in. Malaysian diaspora, half a century. You have acquired wealth, knowledge, experience, and I think this is the time when the country needs help. There are certain realities we have to live with, but I think you can impart. I think the Malaysian diaspora, whether you are continue to be in various foreign capitals or foreign countries, can help to contribute towards the building of a new Malaysia. In the way that the Bersih has done very well. Bersih Auckland, Bersih New Zealand, Bersih Australia, Bersih Shanghai, Bersih US, all the regions contribute to the mending of the wrongs of the country. And here you are contributing to the building of a new Malaysia. As I said, almost every field we need to rethink, we need to restart, we need to reset nation building policy. It's not just the government. It's not what Mahathir wants. It's not what Anwar wants. It's not what Siang, or Sabu wants. It's what we Malaysians in Malaysia, Malaysians in the diaspora want. That is important. Correct? That's why I suggest time has come for uniting the energies, the resources, the capabilities of Malaysians inside and outside the country. And for Malaysian diaspora, maybe we should pattern after Bersih, have a Malaysian diaspora, new Malaysia. I hope I can leave Australia and New Zealand end of the trip to see the beginning of formation of diaspora, New Zealand. And I hope the Siang is he's the first member of parliament for Cebu, living in the Christchurch, and I'm sure together with all Malaysians who are like-minded Malaysians, we can have a diaspora, new Malaysia, not only in New Zealand, but in Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch, United. And for New Zealand, Malaysians in New Zealand to show the world that diaspora can contribute, can participate in the building of a new Malaysia. So I think I will end here, and I will be happy to hear your views and to answer some of your questions. Thank you very much.